Hey guys, welcome to another episode of DeLuSioNaL's Arcade. So I've been on a monitor kick lately, just trying to repair stuff, tube swaps, all that stuff you've seen in my previous videos. If not, you can just click up here to kind of catch up on that. You know, I do have this spare monitor here. It's a K4900. I think I acquired it when I got that Frogger for a buddy of mine, which somebody had put an LCD into. So they kind of just threw this in on the side as well. And, you know, so I figured why not? Let's throw it on the bench, fire it up, see if it works, you know, and see what we can do to kind of get it working. So without further ado, I guess let's just go ahead and jump right into the episode. All right, guys, so this is the monitor. It is a Gardner K4900. And the way you can tell is a lot of times you'll just look over here. Sometimes the label, like this one, we got really lucky. You see it right there. It actually says 19K4903 right up on top. So that's the K4900, whether it's a 4903 or whatever. You just go by the first two numbers. So it is a 4900 series, so you can get cap kits for that and stuff. If you don't have that, sometimes it's over here on the side. You just got to look around. If it does not have anything like that, you can kind of just look at the flybacks. Like these have like white knobs on them, usually, not always. The K7000s do as well. The G07 flybacks look a little different, so you can kind of just figure out what they are. There's pictures online. I believe if you go to arcadepartsandrepair.com, I'll leave a link in the description. He actually has a page where he has pictures of a lot of chassis, and you can kind of figure out what you need and what you have. So in doing some more detective work, I kind of looked around. I said, you know, what was this used in? I saw this little tag here. So this is in a Williams. It looks like it's 586389. You know, usually they kind of serial number the monitor, the board, the power supply and everything, just so it's all numbered and it's all together. So obviously this was probably parted out. And when I was doing it, I said, you know what, let me look at the burn-in to see what it is. Originally I thought it was Frogger, but if you look closely here, can you guys guess what it is? You have the three things right here. If you look over here, it says point, and usually it says B, so it's point B. So it turns out it's a Moon Patrol. So that's Moon Patrol burn-in. It was probably in a Moon Patrol at one point. But that has, you know, those are notorious to have that burn in there. So we're probably going to do a tube swap if we get it working, but we're going to try to get it working first. This is a CR23 pinout right here. So I do have a CR23. We'll probably have to take the yoke out, and I'll probably do that for the first time. But anyway, we're not doing that in this episode. We're just going to see if it works. Kind of look the board over. I'm assuming the guy tried it and it didn't work. Whenever you get a free monitor, assume it doesn't work. So we're going to kind of look it over and to see, you know, if there's anything that just stands out, and we can kind of just, you know, put it in. I don't want to plug it in right away. I want to kind of give it a visual inspection first, just to make sure everything's cool. All right, so let's go change an angle. We'll kind of flip it around and we'll kind of look at the chassis here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, I think I'm going to just take the chassis out. I was looking at this here. This was a little loose when I was taking the neck board off. This little piece actually comes out. You'll see right here if I can get my nail underneath. You can see that this, see how it's coming out? This whole thing actually came out, and I had to just push it on there. And that'll happen sometimes. I've had stuff that this here is cracked. You could actually remove the whole thing and put on the neck board without this. This is just the key to show how to put it in. But if you know which way to put it in, you don't really need that piece. But so that was kind of just, you know, separated there. And I guess because of the heat and the oldness of it, it just came off. But it's fine. So this is a CR23. Again, I'm probably going to have to take the yoke off in future episodes where I do a tube swap. But again, this tube is probably going to work. It just has severe burn-in. And let's see. So let's take this chassis out first. So I already clipped this wire. This was actually together. This is just the ground wire that goes to the chassis, which is over here. I just disconnected it. I'm probably going to crimp that later on and put connectors on it so I can keep disconnecting it if I need to. Everything else looks pretty clean. I'm giving it like a little inspection here. But let's get this out. And I already discharged it, you know, so I took the anode cup off, which is right here. So I did all that ahead of time. Let me just make sure this is off. So again, just like the K7000, the K4900s are pretty easy to take out. So I'm just going to grab this and put it on the side here. And it should slide right out. And I removed also the degaussing coil, which is right here. That was plugged in right there. And then I also took this out because I was testing to see if it was compatible by testing the vertical and horizontal on the yoke. But turns out it's not direct drop-in compatible with the tube that I have, so I'm probably going to have to take, like I said, the whole thing off. So now that this is free, you can kind of take the tube. The first thing I noticed, and I'll actually hold it up to you guys, there's usually a couple jumpers here, and depending on what you want to do, like this is a vertical shift, you can actually set the jumper. Here, I'll kind of hold it up so you can see it. Let me take this out of the way here. So there's like a yellow jumper here, and depending where you have it in there, you could set it, I'll use a pointer here. Let me use, hang on a second, let me grab my TV tool here, it'll just be easier. So if you're looking at it, let's see, okay. You have this right here. There's like little jumpers inside. You see like there's little, you could either have it in the center. Right now it's in the center, but you could have it on the side over here or this side over here. So depending what you want and where you want to position, that's where you move it. So that's for vertical. And then the horizontal one is completely missing. And I actually came across that. It's hard to see with these wires in the way. But I'm pointing at this little thing here. See how there's 3 of them? Yeah, that's supposed to have another yellow one in there. And it doesn't have it in there. So I was looking at this, and it turns out it's right here. So this piece right here, it looks like the wire just broke off. So I have to build another one of these yellow things here to go from here into the center one, and then I can adjust it as I go along. So I'm not sure what's going to happen if I fire it up and that's not in there. So I'm going to build that first. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quickly build that wire. I'm going from there to there, and then see where we take it from there. And I'm just going to inspect the rest of the board too. Definitely needs a cap kit. Looks like it's never been capped. It has old stuff. This is the old B+ filter cap. I may change that depending. I'll probably measure voltage. It's on this one right here and to ground, and we'll kind of figure it out. But I definitely do that. And I got that on by chance, actually. I figured that out because a buddy of mine, he actually had the same chassis, and we were trying to troubleshoot it, and he was showing me, in his Galaga. He just picked up a Galaga cocktail, and he actually plugged in. When he turned it on, it started to smoke. He turned it off quickly. But it turned out, I think he had the jumper, the vertical and the horizontal, plugged into the same one. So when he showed me, like through video Skype and all that stuff, he showed me that it was both on the same one. So he ended up taking it off and putting it on there. And I was trying to show him. I said, oh, I have a 4900. And I was showing him mine. And then I said, wait a minute, it's missing the horizontal. So that's how I figured it out. So by chance, I figured that out. I'm not sure if I would have caught that if I had inspected it, but that is definitely missing. We definitely need to put that back there. So everything else looks pretty much good. There's nothing that looks old, and it's actually pretty clean, considering I didn't even clean this at all. Oh, you know what? I'm lying now. I did clean it, but I never shot it on video. I must have cleaned it when I first got it because it was really filthy, and I just cleaned it and then kind of set it to the side. So that's why it's so clean. It's because I did it. I actually washed this outside with a garden hose and distilled water. But yeah, it hasn't been capped yet, so it's actually ready for capping. But I figured let's get it working before we try the caps, because it doesn't make sense to do the cap kit and then it doesn't work anyway. So, and I have all the parts. I have these here. I have transistors for the side. I have the hot. I have a few others that are important for the power. And I also have these pots here if I need to change them out. The neck pots I have as well. And a couple other capacitors. I think I have this one here that I can replace. So anyway, let's try getting it working. I'm not sure. I may have a horizontal width coil. I'm not sure. But anyway, so underneath it looks good too. This looks like it was factory. Doesn't look like anybody messed with it. And it doesn't look burned up at all. Like I said, it doesn't look like it's ever capped. I can't really see these. I have to look like with a magnifier. I can't tell if they've been cracked or anything. But I mean, everything looks pretty intact. There's nothing that looks weird to me. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be working, hopefully, once we get all that stuff put in. And it's very possible that the person fired it up and that wire was broken, so that's why it didn't work. So if you guys know in the comments, let me know. If you don't have that horizontal jumper there, will it work? Will it go crazy? Anyway, so let's go ahead and get that replaced. But I do use this gauge. It's 22 gauge. It's about the same, right? Yeah. So I can use yellow. I can be consistent here. But yellow finished. Oh no, what am I going to do? All right, you know what? I'm going to make it white because I don't have yellow. So we'll make it about this length. So I'll cut it here. And I have to figure out how this is put in there. I know there's little jumpers like this. And the jumpers kind of looks like a regular quick disconnect that's been crushed, but I don't have that actual jumper. I might actually. I'm going to look. Let me actually stop the video. I'm going to look because I have a spare chassis that I know is broken and I just use it for spare parts and stuff. So I'm going to look to see if I can find a jumper off of that one. Okay, so we're back. So what I did, I couldn't find one, but I'm going to make one out of this and just a typical Molex, not a Molex, but I guess a quick disconnect for like control panels and arcade buttons. That's going to be the actual jumper. And then I did get a Molex connector, which I'm going to solder to the board and take the other one out. So let's go ahead and put those on. So this one is pretty standard. You just kind of just put it in the crimper here. I'm going to just twist this a little bit and we're just going to slip it in there. And I'm going to crimp down and we have a connection here. So that's good. And then on this one, I'm going to put the Molex connector, which I have right here. And it's a different kind of method where I'm going to just take this and it says 18 to 22 is on the right. So I'm going to put that in there like that. And then I'm just going to take this, kind of just move it over and put it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm crimping that on there. These things are great. It does it really well. So basically crimps around the outside of the wire and then on the inside on the inside there. So this will be it. What I'm going to do is just slip it over and then just solder it once it's kind of take my pliers and put it around the pin and then I'll just solder it. And I'm going to solder this piece over it like that. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I should do that now actually. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting this Molex connector kind of over, if it focuses there, I'm putting that over the original pin and I'm going to put this pin back in the board. And it's kind of a makeshift thing, but you know, sometimes you got to do that with older games. And I'm sure there's a part that I can buy, but I don't have that on hand at the moment. So I'm just looking for my little, here it is, my little helper thingy-majiggies. And let's see. And I don't have my fan on right now. I should. Let's see if I can put it on the side here. Okay. Let's see how that came out. It's going to be a little hot still, but just want to make sure it doesn't come out. And yep, that looks good. Just for good measure, I think what I'm going to do is put some solder on this part here. Part that I just crimped. That way it's nice and solid here. All right. Cool. All right. So now I'm just going to put this in here. Pop it in. I'll just use some pliers because it's still a little bit hot here. Just turn it. So what I'm doing is I'm just holding it and kind of coaxing it back in the hole there. There we go, it just clicked in. And then I will resolder it right there. So I'm just going to grab it right here. Give some solder on it. I'll probably throw it on this side here. It's hard to get the angle on it. Let's try that. All right, it's back on. So I just repaired that little portion, and now I have a jumper cable here. And this isn't a perfect fit, you know, but what you can do is you can kind of slip it in right here. It's like these little tiny holes here, right there and right there. And you can take either or and kind of slip it in there. And if it gets a little loose, what you do is you just take some pliers and you kind of tighten it till it fits properly. So I'm going to stick it on the center one. And right now I'm looking, it's hard to see with the camera, but it is a little loose on that side. Let me try the other side. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit here. Kind of just squeeze it down. Yep, that's good. So it's in there pretty good. So yeah, so I just made a jumper. It's kind of crude, but it works. And then if we need to switch it, I can just switch it to the left side or the right side. But right now it's in the center. So we got the vertical shift right there. And we got the horizontal center in the center there. So that looks good. This one's on nice and solid. All right, so let's stick this back in, and I'll hook it back up, and we'll see if this thing really fires up or not. Okay, so we're back. So I'm about to pop it in, but before I do that, I just want to kind of get this off here. And I'm getting lazy. I'm gonna put a butt connector on here. That just makes it, I was gonna put an adapter and all that, but I'm just gonna put this on there. It's on there really solid. And then I can put the other one together once I put it in there. So let's just slip this in. It goes in this way. And I usually plug this in first because it's on solid ground here and I can get to it. And it is keyed, so you can't put it in backwards, but I'm doing this all off camera. And then I kind of slip that in there. Okay, and we just get these screws in here. Man. All right, and let's put this on. You know what? Before I do that, I don't want to forget this. The gouging coil. So that goes in there, and I plugged this one in already. This is the yoke. And let's get this on here. It's keyed. So get that on there. Okay, and of course we have this wire here, which is the ground, which goes to here. It's pretty short, so like I said, I'm being a little lazy and just quickly getting it on here. If I have to redo this and take it off, I'm probably going to have to get a longer wire. Let me just forgot to twist it. All right. So that's on there. We got the ground, and then there's a flyback, which is plugged in here, and then we have this other one, which is not plugged in, so it's a good thing I checked. It's funny, the pin on this is bent. So it must have happened when we were messing with it. But it goes right on the neck here. All right. Everything else seems to be on there. Everything's on. I'm just double checking to make sure I have everything. It's on. Okay. And as far as the connector, I didn't even check that. Of course it has none. What was I thinking, right? Man. I'm gonna have to put one on there. All right, let's cut it. So whoever had this monitor before definitely messed with it. And it's going to an isolation transformer, so I don't think it matters which way you put it on. But man, it's pretty thick here, so I'm gonna move this over and see if I can do it again. There's one. There's two. But I do have the connector that I'll put on a little later for this thing. But so we'll put this back on here. There we go. All right, that's on there. Okay, so the anode cup is on. And I got to take this off too. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. This is the actual connector. Yeah, it's definitely, I should have known just by that connector that it's Williams, because these are the kind of connectors they use, and they're horrible. All right, so that's for the game board. You can see these connectors, they're kind of just like how they just kind of push them in there, and then they kind of cut into the wire, and these things fail all the time. I have these on my Smash TV, and I replaced them for the soundboard and the main board. Yeah, these are garbage. So that's where it's going, right in the garbage. All right, so that's good. So let me get the alligator clips. I'll have everything set up. I'll reposition all the camera stuff, and then we'll fire it up and see what happens. So just to show you, this is what's on the typical power, and then this is what's on the monitor, and they kind of just go in together like that. So I'm going to need this part right here, and I have a ton of them here that I ordered. All right, so I'm going to get my crimping, which I kind of put it in here. So if it ever wants to focus, come on, focus, focus, focus. Yeah, this camera just does not want to focus on me. Anyway, you put it in here. So you face it up like that. And then I'm going to kind of go in slowly. And I usually don't go all the way because this wire is a little thick. So see if I can get that in there. I have to twist it, and I always forget to twist it every time. Let me do this one too while I'm at it. All right. See if we can get that on there. Yeah, that works. So that's it right there. It's on pretty solid. I feel like soldering it actually too, because I don't want it to slip out, because it's just having trouble grabbing on this on the wire there. So anyway, so this is it again. I'm just gonna quickly put it in here. Kind of do that. And I apologize again if it's not focusing right. It's just this camera does not want to. You have to get really the main thing on there. There it is. So I put it in. And that's the other one. Just for good measure, I'm just going to solder it just on this part here. Come Does not want to go in. Just keeps moving on me. There we go. There's one. Ouch. Hot. That's two. Just for good measure, just so it won't pull out. And then you stick this on here. So now that that's on, I'm actually going to let it cool because it'll melt the plastic if I put it in now. Stick them both in at the same time. It does not. There we go. There's one. Come on. Two. They both clicked in. So that's it. Now it's nice and snug. And I'll probably build some strain relief here. I'll probably put a zip tie. But in the meantime, you know, it will plug in fine. So let me get my extension. Just double check it. I get my TPG ready. I'll put it on the side. But I do have my extension cord that I built. And we'll plug this in here like that. Perfect. All right, so now it's safe. Okay, so I have everything plugged in. I did not turn on my TPG yet, my test pattern generator, which I have right here. So I'm gonna leave it off. I have everything plugged in. I crimped everything that I needed to crimp. And then I do have it plugged into my isolation transformer. And we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna keep an eye on the back first, and then I'll wheel you over to the front to show you what happens. So let's see, I've never turned this monitor on. It could be smoking, it could blow a fuse. I have it on a surge protector, so let's see. Here goes nothing. Saw a couple sparks by the yoke. I'm not sure what's happening. So I'm staying near here just in case. I see a, looks like it has vertical collapse. So let me turn on my TPG, give it a signal, and see what happens. Yeah. Looks like it has vertical collapse. Check it out, guys. You see that? So, I do have parts to fix that, but I am not an expert on this. So, I guess we'll wing it and see what happens. So, let me do some reading, I'll do some research, and we'll come back. But you can see the signal for blue for the TPG. So it looks like the color is there. If I were to switch it to different settings, like that's the color one. Yeah, you see how the colors are coming through? So that means it just has vertical collapse. So vertical collapse is vertical this way. And then horizontal collapse is if you see it the other way, going up and down. All right, guys, so I did some research, and it turns out that I need to change out the vertical. It's the whole thing down here. You see these little transistors there? There's one here, 302 and 303 on the board. And there's another one on the other side right there. Okay, so at this point I lost my audio, but I was pretty confident that the vertical deflection was a problem. The source online said to check, you know, as I mentioned, 302 and 303, which are those two transistors there. But it also said to check resistor 313, it may be open, and then try replacing a whole bunch of caps, including C313. And if you can look really closely here, you can see 313 kind of shakes. It's that gray one right there, right next to the transistors there, Q302 and 303. So on the other side of this one, I start unscrewing this one here, and you'll see, as soon as I start unscrewing the other one, you'll see that the board, just keep an eye on that little, that capacitor right there next to the screwdriver. You can see it wiggling around. It's pretty loose. So I realized this as I'm doing it, I'm like, wait a minute, this is really loose. Okay, you know, C313 was one of the problems that it said to check. So instead of taking out the vertical output transistors, I ended up just saying, you know what, let me just resolder this in there, get it all done, and then see if I can get it, you know, and test it before I replace those things, because those things are a little pricey compared to a capacitor, and the capacitor is included in the cap kit, so I figured why not. So you can see right here, I'm kind of taking out the old one, and it looks pretty cruddy, so I said, you know what, let me pop in the new one. So I just did that right away. And at that point I decided, you know what, let me put it in, let's fire it up. I was going to do the entire cap kit, but I decided, let's see if this really was the problem that I was having. And yeah, so I pop it in, and I'm pretty happy with that. Okay guys, so we're back. I set it up, put the chassis back in. I actually just used the alligator clip so I wouldn't have to keep cutting this thing and butt connecting it just for that ground wire. And everything seems to be together. I plugged everything in. So we'll turn it on and see if this thing fixes itself. Let's see here. Let's plug it in. Here we go. And I should get a solid white. I'm looking on the front here. So far nothing, but I will turn on my TPG. And we have a signal, check it out. Awesome. So that's what it was. It was a loose connector there, loose capacitor. Cold solder joint. So that's good news, you won't have to use any parts. I can put those away, but I do have those on hand just in case. And it looks like the V-hold. Let me just grab my pointer here, which is also my TV tool. And vertical hold is right here. Let's see, hang on. Kind of hard to get to. Let's see. There we go. So it looks like I can turn on the flyback a little bit. And the focus knob is right here, see if that works. All right. Let me go to another image here. Still see the burn in a little bit. Yeah, so it looks pretty decent. All right, looks like we have another spare monitor fixed. So that's good. So that's all it was. So I'm not going to bother adjusting it out because I'm going to go ahead and cap it. So let's do that really quick. I won't bore you with the details. I'm going to just maybe put 1 or 2 caps in, and then we'll just do a little quick fast forward. And we'll see how this monitor pans out. So let me take it apart, put the chassis back, reposition everything, and get going with this cap kit. Okay guys, so it looks like that was a problem. I didn't have to do take out these transistors at all over here, which is awesome. So I kind of put those back. I was going to test them and take them out. That's assuming that that's what the issue was, but it wasn't the issue. So these two remained in there. So it was that cap after all. So this one right here. So in the future, if that ever happens, check that C313 first, kind of reflow it and see if that helps. And if it doesn't, then you're going to go ahead and get these. Because these, you know, they're not cheap compared to caps. I mean, this comes in the cap kit. So let me go ahead and get the rest of the caps on there. I didn't test the B+. I should have. Yeah, I think you just test it right here on this wire to the chassis. I'm not really sure if it's the blue one or that. I can't remember offhand. But I'll have a link in the description that has, you know, the B+ settings for all monitors. We'll do that afterwards. And then, of course, you know, I'm going to put this cap kit in here from arcadepartsandrepair.com. So let me go ahead and get that set up. And we'll go ahead and do that. So yeah, so I'll set it up. You know me, I like to kind of lay everything out and make sure I have everything with the diagram, and then we'll continue and do this cap kit. so this one I'll do with you guys. So D306, it says here, see how it's kind of, can you guys see that? It's kind of like combined. See that? Let me get the pointer. I mean, you guys can, I'm sure you guys can see it, but it's right here. So that right there, there's like a little diode on it as well. I'm going to save that diode. You don't want to get rid of it. So you want to take this cap. It's actually sharing the same hole. And you want to take this one out right here and replace it, but keep that in there so they're both using the same one. So that was a little weird to do, so I'll do that now with you guys. And D306 is where it's in. So it's not in a C, it's in a D for a diode. So this is it here. So you always want to make sure the diode faces, there's a little symbol there. The little stripe means negative, so negative is going to be on this side and positive is going to be on this side if it falls out on you. So that's good to know. So it looks like they did a great installation on this, I have to say. What they did was they bent the diode inward and they put the cap on the outside and bent it outward, so I know which is which. So the diode will stay in there. Alright, let's see if that came out. And it almost did. Half of it came out, but it's still kind of stuck right here to this. I gotta heat this up and it should come off. There we go. Alright. So that's it right there. You can see it. It's still in there, unharmed. So negative, see that little slit? That's where the negative on the cap is going to go. So it's on the top as well. So the longer one goes here. The smaller one goes here. You want to kind of just have it, I'm pushing it down, but not really too much. I don't want it to touch the diode. So that's about good, like right there. You see that? Let's see if I can get a better angle here. So it's kind of floating on top, but yet it's in there good. So, excellent. And it even says on the thing, if you're confused as to how it goes in, he puts some instructions on here that say, let's see. Okay, so D306, install capacitor in the same holes with diode D306 location. The negative lead of D306 capacitor should be connected to the cathode of D306. So cathode, there's anode and cathode. Anode is positive, cathode is negative, so that's exactly what I said with that little symbol. And then he even points it out even more. He says the negative lead of the capacitor should be on the cathode side of the diode, which is the end closest to TP81. Negative is on this side. So you can see right here, test point 81 is, I'll point it out. This is test point 81 right here. See, it says TP81 right there. And he says that the negative, which is this side, has to be closest to that. So again, if you don't have its instructions, you're going to go by this little symbol here. And the symbol on the diode, if I can move it over, it actually has a little, you can barely see it, there's like a line there. And that line is telling you it's negative, and which is closest to test point 81, which is right there. So yeah, so that's installed properly. Just got to go ahead and solder it up. That's probably about the hardest thing you're going to do on here. Everything else is pretty simple. I'm going to bend it outwards and try to get everything on there, just like they had it. Kind of lifting the pad, actually. That's a lifted pad right there. So we'll fix that. I'll show you how to fix a lifted pad. Alright, that one's fine. This one's kind of lifted. Why won't you come out? Alright, so that, you can see the pad's lifted. And it happens sometimes, you know. So, to fix them, you're going to use what I just took off the other one. But you can see, if you look really close here, let me point to it again. That's it right here. And I'll even, hopefully it'll focus, Come on. But let me just try to get it to manually focus here. Okay, so this is it right here. Can you see that? Oh, it's lifted. So I usually try to leave it as good as possible. And what you want to do is they have like little traces here. You can see these little islands of stuff, like these green. This is actually connected to this one next to it because it's on the same green. It's like that light green there. So all you do is you just take this and you put like a little, you could put a wire, but what I do is I use the legs of the capacitors, the ones I just used, and you can just bridge those two together. Chances are this is still connected, but it's like it's about to come off. You're better off just bridging it here just for safety, and then you're good. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do that together. So let me put the other cap in first. So kind of glad that it lifted because I always wanted to show you guys that. So I'm just sticking it in where it goes here, positive, negative. It's in right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to solder it on there like it's supposed to go. I'll just do one side. So we'll do this here. That side's fine. I want to grab it from underneath and push it in there. There we go. And then the other side, I'm just going to put a little bit on this one next to it. Put a tiny bit extra on there. So I'm going to kind of hold this here and bring this over here too. I'm just going to kind of just put that on there like that. So there you go. So that's one side. Once one side is on, it's really easy. You just can bend it to kind of fit on the other one. Can you see how I'm doing that? I'm basically just bending it together. And then you just solder the other one on. You leave it long, just like that. You leave everything on there. So do some more here. So that's it. Now that that's all done, you can just take that excess long piece here and just snip it off. So I'm doing that. That's it. So if you look close, I'm going to actually leave these on here so you can tell what's what. So this is it here. So can you see how I just like took those two ends? You kind of take these right here, you merge them together with that little piece, and then that's it. So that's actually using that from there, and you're good to go. So yeah, you just have to look, you know, a lot of people are intimidated. Oh man, I lifted a pad, but it's really easy. You just go by the islands, you know. They're more apparent here, like when you have to take out this thing here. Sometimes there's like empty ones here which you can use, and you have to kind of bridge them together. So this is like negative, I believe, this whole one here, and these other ones are positive. So you can kind of just bridge them together if you need to, and those are the islands. So if you see something on this one here, that's sharing one, that's sharing one, that's sharing one, so this is all sharing. All this right here is all sharing the negative. So you have a negative leg here and a positive over there, and so on. So it's pretty easy, pretty basic, but you got to know it, because if something like that happens, you got to be able to repair it on the fly. So I remember asking Peter about this ages ago, and you can see there's like a little circle on the board. Can you see that? It says C366 there, and it actually is one of those that has like the diode in addition to the capacitor in there. It's usually either or. There's no note on this to put both. So when I asked him about it, this is on my other chassis that I had capped. He said if there's a diode in there, just leave it and don't put the cap in. Just leave it alone. So I'm leaving this in there. That's just an extra cap. That'll happen sometimes with cap kits where you have extras. But I did verify with him. Like I said, he has great tech support, and he told me that I shouldn't put it in there. So C366 is actually right there. It's supposed to go in with that diode, but it's not going to be there. So that's it. So we're done with this cap kit. So now we have just a spare. We have a spare cap here, which you can put in a parts pile. So 22 at 50. So yeah, let me zoom out here for you guys. And that's the whole thing. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to verify, double check everything once again, go through it, and then we'll see what other parts, because I have a few parts that I might replace on the neck board. There's a couple things that I might want to do that I have extra parts for, and I figured why not? We'll just do it while we have it, open. Okay, guys. So I actually shot an email to Peter. We'll see if he gets back to us about that part. That's the one that is flaking off over here. It does work, so I'm not really concerned right now this second, but I think I want to have one on hand just in case, and if I get a chance, I want to swap that out. So let me just double check to see if he got back to me, which he did not. Okay. So yes, I shot that out. So this one here, it says VR91, it says 4900. I had this part and I'm not really sure. I think it's a B+ pot, I think. But I can't find VR901 anywhere on this board, so I think I'm just going to skip it for now. And then kind of revisit it. If you guys know where this is, VR901 on this, let me know, but I don't see it anywhere. So maybe it's this one over here. Can't remember. Maybe I'm confusing the K7000, because I know the K7000 had the high voltage B+ pot over here somewhere. But anyway, I'm gonna kind of leave this on the side, and then these two are the pots. They're 5K pots and 5,000. I'm sorry, or 500 ohms and 5K on the neck board. So I think I'm gonna change it out because these look kind of crappy, and a couple of them were bent. And I'm not sure if the legs broke on them, and that usually causes issues. So I might as well swap them out. I'm going to show you how to correctly swap them out. Like, the colors looked pretty okay when we fired it up before. And what you can do is you can measure them. You measure the ohm resistance, and then you kind of set the other ones the same. So I'm going to do that and show you guys how to do that. It's pretty simple to do. And then this here looks pretty old and bent up. So I'm going to swap it because I do have this part. That's this one right here. It's a neck capacitor. So I think I'm going to go ahead and swap that as well. So this one versus that one. Yeah, so I'm going to quickly take that one out. So I'll do that right now. We'll just basically take this out. So there's this one right here. And is it 411? Yeah. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to put this nice new one in. I'll just put it in like that, and then we'll just give it a quick solder. I should zoom in a little bit too, for you guys too. And then I'll just reposition everything. Yeah, so, let's see. Guess I'm grabbing that right there. Let me just focus on it. Let's see here. It'll eventually do it. Okay, I guess that'll be okay for now. It's not perfect, but I really do need new equipment. Something a little better than what I have here. But it works, right? It's not really the quality, it's the quantity, and the content is really what counts. And I try. All right, so that's in there. Snip these legs off. Oops, and that fell. See, that's dangerous when things like that fall down. You don't want that. That could kind of short something out. All right, so let's go ahead and take one of these out. Let's start with these on the side, these two. These, I believe, let me just double check here. We have, let's see, we have 5K and 500 ohm. And the ones on the side, these are 401 and 402. These are 500 ohm. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I'll do one at a time and I'll measure them. Let me get my multimeter. That way I have it in here and I can show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to set this for ohm. I'm just going to quickly grab it here and see if it doesn't really focus as much as I want it to. There we go. So I'm going to set it to ohm. That's right there. And you know, you can change them out and just swap them and everything's fine. But what you want to do is you want to put a multimeter on it and see what it's set to, so that you can kind of set the new one to that, and it's kind of in the ballpark and it's not as bad swapping them out. So I'm going to take this first one out here. That's the red one. So I'm just going to that's loose. Alright, so that one came out. I'm leaving it alone the way it is. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your leads, you know, I'll kind of put it over here. Let me move it over a little bit. And you're going to want to put your leads on two of the stuff over here. So let me see if I can put this in a way that you guys can see it here. Alright, so I'm putting it on the two legs like this one. It doesn't matter which one you do. And it's going to show the resistance. So that's set to 0.427. So the new one that I'm going to replace it with, and it's in this baggie here. I need two of them, so let me take two of them out. So they're actually nicer. I really like these. I try to center them up. So I'll just take this, and there's like a little arrow. So that's center, that's all the way left, that's all the way right. You want to set it to the center. Same thing here, it's set all the way up, that's all the way left. Set it in the center. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to align them exactly the same. So we said this was right here. We'll do it again. 0.426. And then this one, we'll touch like that. It's going to be different, obviously. That's 0.274. So what we want to do is, it's kind of hard to balance it. I suggest you use alligator clips, so I'm going to do that right now. I should have a couple alligator clips handy here somewhere. So I'm just going to kind of put these on here. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. And then where's my black one? I'm going to put that one on the black. And kind of put this on the side. And then I can use these to clip on. So I'm going to put the black on the negative in the center, and the other one on the right hand side there. So now it's going to give me a value, right? So now all I have to do is turn this kind of to match. So I'm going in the wrong direction. I got to go the other way. 426 we said, right? Oh. And you know, it's ballpark, you don't have to be exact, but you can get it pretty close. Yeah. Let me go up a tiny, tiny bit. Yeah, it's really, really incremental stuff. I see I'm trying not to get it exact, and then that's exactly what I'm doing. So that's good. I'm happy with that, 0.427. So now you take this off, and you pop it in. So it's like nothing ever happened. So let's see if I can pop this in there. It should be should fit perfectly. It should. Let's see. Come on. So I'm just having a hard time seeing it here. Yeah, it looks like these are a little wider. That happens every now and then. And I don't want to force it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and just bend it. You just take them and you kind of bend them outwards a little bit. And what I usually do is I'll turn it and bend it at the same time. And then that allows me to kind of make them a little wider here. Let's try that. And it goes right here. Yeah, so that looks like it's going to fit just fine. So there it is. I just popped it in there. And now I just solder it on. And it's set to the value I need it set at. And you got to do it while it's outside of the board. I'm pretty sure if you measure it now while it's soldered in, it's not going to give you the true value of what it should be. So let me just solder this in. Alright, let me just hold this one down. It's a little crooked. Just want to make sure it's in there good. There we go. And that's it. So now we have a new pot on here. And it looks great. It's set to what it's supposed to be set. So now I can just take the next one out. Should be able to come right out. Alright, I think it's coming out. Yeah, it's all loose now. Alright, so that one came out. And again, we kind of can take this, we can either chuck it or save them. Sometimes I save them. Just I'll put them in the same bag as the other ones. Because you never know. Like, I've had one that it just broke completely. That one's not broken, so I'm going to save it and salvage it. Alright, so let me take, these other ones are a little different. These are 5K. They're at 403, 404, and 405. That's these three here. Let me just double check. That's 403 right here, 404, and 405. And this one looks a little suspect, so I got to see. Alright, we'll get the next one now. Maybe that'll be different. I don't know. So there's this one here. We get these on the end. That one's jumping up. And this one looks broken. Yeah, it is broken. Huh. See? We found something. That's why it was wiggly like that. So this one is definitely broken. And I believe the piece just fell down. Just gotta find it. And this one is still, there we go. So see, this piece right here came off. Busted. So when I heard it fall down, I just gotta find it. So I'm just gonna turn it upside down. And I heard it bounce off and land somewhere. Oh, here it is. So this is the leg right here. Totally broken. So we should still be able to test on one side, I guess, right? We'll give it a shot. We'll have that there and have that there. See what it tells us here. And that's in K, 4.49, 4.50. So we can throw this out because we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to center this out again, and then we'll put it on there and see what happens. I'll put it on this side, see what happens there. No, that's not right. We got to do it on this side. All right, so that's set to like, man, it keeps touching. This is just so tiny. All right, let's turn this one up. Again, it's going to be ballpark. Okay, 4.5. I think that's what the other one was at. And I'm having trouble just holding it steady here. All right, so these are all nice and new. You got the 500K over here and the 5Ks over here. And there it is. So, all right, so let's, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to do. I think that's it. So we got the pots. We got this right here. Let me just close this one up. That's the one for the neck board. And I have some resistors I could switch out. There was a power resistor right here, like right on there. See that? There. But it looks really good, so I'm not going to swap it out. But I do have that in case it messes up. I also have the hot and the transistors on the side. See for these here. This is the STR381, and I have those, but I don't need to swap them out. I actually ordered them because I thought I would want to, but no, I don't need to. So that's great. Let me put these parts away. I have a little parts bin that I use here. And then this one is the, see, this is still bugging me, the VR901. I'd love to change that out, but I don't know where it is, so. I don't see any other pots on the chassis. I'm assuming it's on the chassis to adjust the voltage. Maybe it's just missing completely. Wouldn't that be funny? See, that's what happens when you get a chassis that is not legit, like this one. Here, let me turn that off. You really don't know like what's what. If anything, you know. I suppose I could look on my other one, but yeah, I don't see anything else. Maybe it doesn't have one. I don't know. It's still going to bug me a little bit because I do have the part. I just don't know, you know, what I should do with it. Hey, it happens. So let me just take this out. You know what we have to do though? We have to test the B+ on this thing. We haven't done that yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom out here. Oops. I'm going to put this all back together. You know what? I could do that now. Let's do that together. And then we'll see. And I wonder, did you guys want to test the tube? I can do that if you guys want. We'll quickly hook up the rejuvenator to this and test it out. You guys want to do that? I could set that up. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? We have the time. So I'll quickly just put this here. We'll put the rejuvenator next to it, and then we'll figure out how to do it. Okay guys, so I have my rejuvenator here. I'm just gonna kind of do it in test mode to see the health of this tube. And I just kind of focused on the meters here. I haven't set it up yet, and it's, I believe this tube, I looked it up on tubular.com. And I'll have a link in the description how to do that. And if you guys want to know how to rejuvenate a monitor and to test and all that stuff, you could just click up here. I did a whole video dedicated just to that, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, this one's set for 6.3 volts for the heater, and the G1 is 50 volts. It's a CR23 neck, which I do have the adapter for, which is all connected. So let's go ahead. Let me just go here, 6.3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to setup now. And this is just, allowing me to set everything up with these two knobs. So right now it looks like I'm setting it to 6.3, which is down there, and then 50 volts, which is right there. Okay, so everything's all set up. I'm going to set the cutoff now for each one. And let me go ahead and do that. And these look like they're okay. They're actually moving, so that's good. So that means it's probably fine. So I'm just setting the cutoff for each one to 1 tick mark. Again, if you have any questions, just click on the link on top. And I have another video dedicated to it where it's really detailed, so it's a really good video. Okay, so that's all set up. Now I'm going to go to test mode. And it looks like this monitor isn't really doing great.
2 hours later.
Yeah, that's good. I'll accept that. We'll just leave it. So, I'm being braver than normal on this because I know I'm going to do a tube swap in the future. But for now, I might leave this alone, leave it as a spare, and then take one of my other ones. I have a K4600 that has severe centipede burn-in, and I have another K4600 that has severe Galaga burn-in, or Galaxian, I'm sorry, burn-in. So I'd rather replace those first because this one isn't as bad as those. Those are horrible. All right, so it's pretty steady, so I'm happy with this. I'm just going to turn it off, and we tested the tube. So that's great. So looks like our little contraption here with the tube and the rejuvenator is all set up and ready to go, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and put the chassis in, and we'll kind of put the TPG back on and kind of dial it in. Okay guys, so I have my test pattern generator hooked up, and I also have my meter hooked up to the lead. So it's the 503, it's resistor 503. That's the white ceramic thing that you see like inside here. It's on the left side, or test point 91, which is in the back. But a lot of people just use this because it's easier to access. You just kind of put it here. So I have my alligator clips on there, and it's supposed to be, I believe, according to this here, it's supposed to read 130 volts. So we'll see. If it reads that, I'll turn it on, and we'll keep an eye on that. Just plug this in here. Hang on a second. There we go. Let's see what it's set to. Right now I see 160. So let's see, check with black meter lead on chassis ground, and red lead on 503, large ceramic resistor, or red lead to TP1 on the back center of the board. So it's possible I have it on the wrong side. So let me go ahead and shut it down. It's harmless if you do it on the wrong side, it's not a big deal. But so I'm going to go on the other side of the resistor. It's been a while since I tested this. And I'm going to go on the front side of it this time. And we'll see if that makes a difference. So you'll see it's counting down. It's actually discharging it a little bit. And going down. I'll wait till it hits 0 and then we'll start it again. All right, that's good enough. Okay, so let's turn it on. Is it not charged? There we go, 129.5, that's good enough for me. It's supposed to be 130, so that is good B+, so I don't have to adjust that at all. And I think these are adjustable. I'm not really sure because I couldn't find that VR pot to adjust it for the B+. So if somebody knows, go in the comments, let me know. I know with the K7000 you could adjust it, but this is so spot on, 129.6, that's just about 130, so we're good to go. And it is working fine, so Okay, so I'm going to turn on my test pattern generator, and we have the handy dandy LED, and I do see an image coming up. We'll kind of just take you around this way here. So I'm going to leave it right there. And it looks like there's a lot of settings that are off, because that's how it looks when it's not really set right. It looks kind of yellowy. So where did I do? I'm looking for my little tiny tool. I have a smaller version of this. Is this it here? No, that won't do. It won't fit. Oh, here it is. I found it. Yeah, this one won't fit underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and just adjust it a little bit. So probably the cutoff is set wrong. Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. That's the green, so okay. So RGB is underneath. I can't remember what's what. I'll just have to feel it out. That's red. There we go. And then green is in the middle. Green is always in the middle. It's just hard to get my little tool in there. And then B is blue. And the pots are working fine. I'm glad we replaced them because they were pretty bad. There we go. So that looks pretty decent. I'm going to mess around with the cutoff again. Nope. All right, we'll go to the next pattern here. And you can see the burn-in still, but still looks okay. See burn-in here and there. But it looks good otherwise. Looks like a really good cap kit. Looks like it colors are vibrant. That's really what we care about because we had done the rejuve. That looks good too. That looks fine. And it is a little crushed on the sides. I think I just have to adjust, like right there you could see it's not set, you know, there's spaces here and down here. And that's a little dim too. I'd have to turn up the flyback a little bit. Let me go back to that crosshatch pattern. Right there. And I'll try to dial it in a little bit. So, let me see here now. Shift. I'm looking to see where the black level is. I think this is black level right here. Yeah, its convergence is off a little bit too. Ever so slightly. So I'll have to mess with that. That's the rings here. And the rings weren't on. See if I turn a couple, see what happens. Yeah, see, they're a little off. So I'll have to mess with that. Basically just start from the tube from this side back. So you turn each one, you see what it does, go back a little bit. So everything's kind of on. Try this one here. Basically, they're just magnets, that's all it is. This is pretty bad down here. Yeah, so I'll mess with that. In the meantime, I really want to see the sides. So let's see, vertical size. There's H shift. Let me, I don't even know if this thingamajiggy here, the horizontal width coil is working or not. Let's see. Sometimes they get frozen, which this one is. Of course, the one thing we need to do, we just need to go in a little bit. And it's not liking it at all. It's kind of frozen in place, and you don't want to break it. All right, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's go to horizontal hold. We already saw, I think. Let's see how that does. Yeah, see, that moves it left or right. See, I really need to squeeze it a little bit. So it's a decent looking monitor. I could always replace that horizontal width coil, but for now, I think we're fine. Yeah. Vertical size, I think we have to increase that, right? There we go. So I'm going to increase that, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Vertical hold. And this here, I don't know why it's called vertical damp, but I think that's just the positioning. Let's see here. This tool just keeps slipping off. It's annoying. Just when I think I have it, it comes off. Like that. Let's see. Nope. Horizontal hold, I already did. Let's try just turning it. Yeah, maybe this needs a new pot. It's possible. But for now, it looks decent. Again, I'm going to mess around with this. So let's see. It looks great to you, right? Does it look awesome? But check this out. When you zoom in, I'll zoom in right here at the bottom. If you look really close, you can see it's off. That's how I see it. So I'm going to mess with that, and we'll come back. But it is looking really good. This was a dead monitor, let's not forget. And we brought it back to life, and it's a spare. So great. So let me fix it and adjust it, and we'll be back. Okay guys, so it looks like I dialed it in. I'm actually gonna quickly switch it for you on the switcher, on the TPG. Everything looks great, you know, so really vibrant colors, and it looks awesome. The crosshatch pattern looks awesome too. It's all like done, and I got the conversion strings to behave. So I guess that about does it for this episode. We went from vertical collapse to this, and now it looks even better with the cap kit, and now we kind of buttoned it up with the pots, and we kind of bulletproofed the chassis. So that's exactly what I wanted. Has a little bit of burn-in, but it's not a big deal. This is going to be a spare that I put on the shelf, but I know it's reliable, and I can just pull it down, and I know it'll work when I fire it up. So mission accomplished here. So okay, I think in the future, I have a couple K4600s that I want to work on. One is dead completely, one is acting really goofy. And I figure out of those two, I'll get one that works and then fix the other one at my leisure, or just send it over to Buffett, because he's really the expert at that kind of stuff. I try, you know, I'm no expert, but I'm learning just like everyone else, and I hope you guys can come with me and take a journey and learn too. So that's the whole point of this channel, paying it forward. I am having a t-shirt campaign once I hit 3K subscribers. That's coming very soon. I may have already hit it by the time this video is published. But at this point, at the shooting of this video, I have about 250 left to hit 3,000. Once I do that, I want to celebrate by you know, having a t-shirt campaign for DeLuSioNaL's Arcade. I think I'm going to have two. I'm going to have a color version and a black and white version. They both look really good. You'll see the color version down here on the banner, where it has DeLuSioNaL's Arcade on the back, and on the front you'll have, you know, the smaller symbol, you know, of the channel. But yeah, anything helps. You know, I really do need to get some equipment. Like I said, I already invested in some wireless mics, and I really need a new camera. So that's really what I'm going to be funding. And plus, you guys will benefit from it, where you can wear it and stuff and tell people, hey, I subscribe to him and stuff, and he's awesome. So hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to stop it right now, and I guess we'll see you in the next one. Take care.